Hello again. So in our last video, we had our last Gita video. This is one of the Bhagavad Gita series, if you haven't seen the little title yet. We had been talking about Krishna trying to give definitions of enlightenment to Arjuna, and Arjuna wasn't getting it, right? And the last one he talked about was about that it's not about giving up material lust. It's about or lust for matter, but it's about giving up the lust itself, not the material things, right? That this is the greater pleasure. But again, Arjuna was only hearing what he wants to hear, and that's the fundamental problem. If you, as a student, only hear what you want to hear, you're going to misinterpret what the teacher says in the context. You're going to warp it as much as you can within the context of what you want to hear. So how do you overcome this? Right? Well, Krishna tries another tactic in these two verses we're going to look at today, which are chapter 2, verse 60 and 61. Krishna says, "Son of Kunti, even while trying to be a man of consciousness, the senses can become agitated, and the mind can throw you off track. Keep all these senses under control. They should all be focused on me. One who can thus dedicate all his senses to a single focus is in a state of awareness." So what did Krishna mean by this? Well, first, what does he mean by keep it focused on me? Right? He's offering here a teaching of Guru Yoga. Right? When he says me, he's talking about himself as the teacher, but he's also talking about himself as Brahma, as divinity incarnate. Right? Remember that Krishna was awakened, and he is, and at that time the understanding of being awakened was an incarnate version of God, right? An avatara, right? Somebody who is God incarnate, right? A God man. So he's saying here that when he's saying me, he's also saying Brahma, but he's specifically saying me as in me, your teacher, right? Because Arjuna, by asking these questions, was looking on Krishna as a guru, right? And his response to this confusion that Arjuna had was that he tried to say, well, look, what you need when the mind is drawing you away, when what you want to hear is creating that misinterpretation, is to break out of that mental cycle of the mind throwing you off track, of the mind making you miss the direction, and instead draw your focus, concentrate your attention on a singular focus, a single point to enter into awareness. Right? And there are kind of two ways to do this, right? There's the way through the mind and the way through the heart. And right now he's talking about the way through the mind, but he still presents as his point of focus, because what we're talking about here is the ability to hear the Dharma, to hear the teaching of the Guru. He says, focus on the Guru, right? If you can put aside your head and direct all of your attention to what is actually being said without trying to immediately make it self-referencing, making it about you, making it about how you're going to interpret it, then there's a much better chance that those words are going to sink in, that the Guru is present to create that track, that way out, right? The mind goes around in circles and circles and circles, right? What you need is a shock point, something that comes from outside. And that shock point from the outside is the teacher. The teacher presents you with a reality that isn't a product of your mind. And you can then have a choice. You can keep going around in circles. You can just take that and run with it in the circle, or you can use it to get out of the circle. Those are the two different options, right? If you're self-directing the teaching, if you're bringing it into saying, no, I'm the center of the universe, so everything is going to revolve around me, the teaching has to be revolved around me, to suit my perspective of it, then you're going to take those words of the teacher and bring them into the circle and use them to keep yourself going round and round and round and round in the circle. But if what you do is you instead direct your attention to the teacher and say, yeah, I want to get out of this circle. I keep complaining about running around in circles. I know what's causing it. So let me stop doing things from my account and look at what the teacher's words are. Focus on that. Focus on him. Focus on the guru. Then the guru presents an opportunity for you to jump out. It's not the guru that's rescuing you. You're doing it. You're focusing on the guru and jumping out towards that light, towards that truth of the Dharma, right? Of the teaching. It's not that the guru can save you. It's that you save yourself by letting the guru act as an alchemical catalyst to break you free of your cycle of repetition in your mind, right? By presenting you with something completely new. And instead of you trying to make the new into something that is now old, you jump out of the old and into the new. You get out of the frame of reference, of self-referencing that you've been in all this time. Of course, that's easier said than done. And what Arjuna interprets this as, and what becomes clear that does not, since this doesn't resolve the thing here, but we'll see chapters later, Krishna takes another perspective of Guru Yoga, which is based on the heart, that becomes a kind of a crowning moment in the Bhagavad Gita. But right now, he doesn't take this, because what he looks at is, oh, okay, well, so what you're saying, Krishna, is that I should just give everything to you, and sure, I will, but then I shouldn't have to fight. I shouldn't have to do things. I shouldn't have to struggle. I shouldn't have to feel bad. I shouldn't have to have problems, right? And so that he's doing the standard thing of looking at the teacher or the teaching as a way to escape, as a way to get out of his problem, instead of looking at it as a way for him to jump out of his frame of reference. He's looking at it as a way for him to keep his frame of reference, but jump out of all the mess that his frame of reference makes, right? That's what he wants. He wants to keep within himself while solving all the problems around him by magic, right? The magic being black magic in this case, right? Of trying to use the teacher as a way to clean up all the problems for me. I'll just believe in you and focus on you and sing Hare Krishna, and then all my problems will just vanish, and I won't have to actually change. I won't have to transform myself. I'll get to keep being little and small and petty, right? This is the great danger of this perspective, right? You have to understand that it's not about solving your problems. In fact, a tantric understanding of this would be to say, okay, you can do this, you can do the Guru Yoga, but if you're going to do it, the first thing you have to accept is that the Guru Yoga teaching, the Guru, will not save you from anything. In fact, you're gonna suffer more, right? Let's put it that way. And if you're willing to accept it, if what you want to do is to change your being, but it's not about fixing your problems, not about fixing what's around you, but just to change your inner self, so then you can go and do all the work of fixing what's around you. If it's not an absconding of responsibility, if you're willing to do even more work than it would have otherwise been to just fix your own mess in the first place, then do Guru Yoga, okay? Because if not, you're going to misinterpret it. You're going to look at it as a way to get a quick fix without having to change, instead of the solution for how to change yourself, and then you go and fix everything, right? That's it for today.